Hello and welcome. I'm Jeremy Searle, and today I'm going to address the question of the closing of the fabulous Fraser Hickson Library in NDG and the subsequent lack of quality library services for this community of 65,000 people. Of course, in NDG we do have two very small, relatively insignificant city libraries on Bottrell and Benny Avenues, but these are not up to the needs of the population and certainly do not provide the sort of services that you expect from a first quality library of the nature you would find in neighbouring Westmount, Côte St. Luc, or for that matter elsewhere in every other district of the city of Montreal. Since the closing of the Fraser Hickson, we're now left with a gap, but in NDG we lack the budget, having the lowest per capita budget of any area in the city, to provide new facilities. And so the only way we're going to get a new library for our sector of town is if our elected people get on board and start fighting with the Mayor Gérald Tremblay to demand more money for our budget for NDG, because of course without that we can do nothing. In the past, before the reorganization, other districts throughout the city of Montreal, their libraries, their recreational centres were paid for by the common pool, to which of course NDG contributed. Their operating budgets were designated from the common pool, to which NDG contributed and which continues to do so, because the budgets from before have been set in stone, and if you had a bigger budget before the reorganisation, you keep it. If you're NDG, you keep the small budget. And now the big mayor downtown, Gérald Tremblay, is telling us that we can have whatever services we want, but while we continue to pay for everybody else's in the city, we now have to pay for any new ones out of our existing insufficient budget. So it's time for our elected people to get off their rear ends and start fighting for the community to get that extra money. And I invite you, the viewer, if you wish, to get in touch with them and demand that they do so. A clever little political game has been played the last few years whereby relatively small amounts of money, $200,000 per year, were provided towards the Fraser Hickson to just keep it on life support, because of course our local elected people were afraid or chose not to go and fight for that extra money. And how much better to have the private sector maintaining services rather than to risk their political careers, their high salaries, on going and fighting for more services, more money for the sector they represent. So if you love the Fraser Hickson Library, as I do, as I believe we all do in NDG, continue to fight on the private sector for its survival. But if you believe in first quality city library services for everybody, get involved and lobby your local politicians to get involved on your part. Something to consider, and thank you for participating today. Good day.